So I'm going to be doing two camera angles, one from here and one from here and one from here. This way I can both talk to you kind of like normalish with maybe a little bit better visual. And then if I need to share anything on my screen, I can do it from here. So first, I want to talk about some numbers that you guys know that I'm doing OA and RA selling on Amazon. So kind of want to go through SellerBoard and go through a little bit of like what I've been working on. So you should be able to see, this is like my monthly kind of like revenue. And so I think last time I did a vlog was maybe 2 months ago now, maybe in April or March. I can go ahead and ask. Here, I'll bring up Visual Code and ask in Claude Code. Got it. So it's saying I did my last vlog May 30th, which is just about a month or two ago. And so at that point, revenue was going up since February, boom, 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 boom. And then July just boom. Cool. So in June, I did about $23,000 in revenue and about $2,300 in profit. And at one point, I had done around $2,700 in the last 30 days. And so without going into the nitty gritty of it, because we could go into weeks, but at this point I would make the video longer. So I just kind of want to go into what I've been experiencing. And so, was going up, then dropped, obviously because we just started, and then dropped in July, right? Now what you'll find is one of the reasons why it dropped in July, with July literally being negative, right? With $55, we're at July 24th. So how did I go from almost $2,300 to about 55 bucks? Well, we can go by, the biggest one is, look at this, 45 different refunds, right? Here we had 20, so it more than doubled. And so these refunds come from items that I was selling over here in June. And if we go into like the actual weekly one, which is gonna show it better, my Prime Day sales were really good. So over here, this is my Prime Day sales. I did $910 in 1 week, like 3,600 a month. So on pace, I was really good. And what happened that it just went down? Honestly, I stopped buying. And so the reason I stopped buying, and I'll probably do more videos about this, because while I was like, if you look back and we look at week 17, these weeks that was like doing like, $500 a week, that was with me working like 30 minutes or less on admin, and on the entire business, honestly, probably like an hour or two a day. Really, really, really little. And so since you know that I've been working like 12 to 14 hours every single day since November, and it's now July, what have I been doing with the rest of my time? Well, I got into Claude Code in February, and I've been just going really, really, really deep, automating absolutely everything. So to give you kind of like a sneak peek, over here, I have all my dashboards, and I'm going to be moving this over to Claude Code. But over here, you see all of my dashboards, and it's really cool. Like you have like my life cycle stages, which I can show right now, which is like units in pipeline. I basically have every single stage done of the 9 stages that happens when you buy something, you use a prep center, and then you finally get it to your bank. And there's a bunch of agents and skills that are constantly pulling and telling you what to do. So before, where I was like having to do everything manually, now I just go and say, oh, there's 44 stuck. I click on it, boom, it takes me all the way down. This we probably want to blur out. But here are my action items. I'll probably want to blur that out too. Then it tells me like my cashback cycle. And the capital stack is really cool. I'll probably do this at a different point, but it tells me my cash flow, my net profit, buying pace, like what credit card to use on what day to get the most float. It's really, really, really cool. And then I have a ton of other ones, and I'll probably do a different video where I can go through it without like showing a lot of like my like stuff within it. But I basically was taking the obsessiveness over data from when I was working at Amazon and said, why can I not do the same thing with this business? And while I was doing it, I kind of got into knowing the business really, really well, its KPIs. And I'm like, this is never going to work out short term. So what I mean by that is the way that Amazon, at least online arbitrage, works is that you buy an item, and then about 45 to 60 days later, you get your cash back. And usually it's about 20 to 30% ROI of what you get back. and you're doing around anywhere from 10 to 15% margin, 15 being very high if you're doing very high volume, and 10 to 12, maybe even 8 being kind of like the average. And so once you factor that all in, unless you have like 100K in the bank that you're just ready to spend, like you're not gonna make enough. And with the 45-day cash cycle, it just takes a really, really long time to get cash back. And so I'll do another video. Like, this is why I hate doing only one video a month. But like I'll do another video talking about like RA and OA. And RA is a lot faster because you can just go to the store, buy it, and like you literally sell it that day or that week. And besides DD plus 7, which is that you have to wait once a customer gets their package, you have to wait 7 days to get your cash back. It's a lot faster. And it's not that I'm saying that OA and RA are a bad business model. I think it's just different games. And I think when I was looking at the margin and thinking, well, if you get 10% margin and you have to reinvest half of it, and you only get to keep the other half, and imagine you want to make 10K, right? So that you can keep 5K, and that 5K is before tax. You start to make 10K. That means that you need to make around 100 to 120K and then that means that you need to be spending around 50K, and not 50K a month because it's a 45 to 60 it's a 45 to 60 day payback period. You need to probably start spending like 100K a month to really start making a living. At that point, you have like 4 or 5 different virtual assistants, and you're going to different prep centers, and everything's getting canceled. And so in my mind, it's just my thought, like, it's not really a business, it's just an arbitrage opportunity, just like brokering. There's a lot of, there's a big difference between like an arbitrage opportunity in the market and like, hey, I need to go get an actual like customer and like fulfill it, like a traditional business. And so without going the pros and cons of it, I'm like, hey, like for me to be able to make enough money, like I need to get my payback period down. Like I can't keep waiting 45 to 60 days. This is horrible, at least for my situation. And with 10% margin and 20 to 30% ROI, it's too low. Like I need to get into something else. And so I thought, okay, well, I do this AI stuff really, really, really well. When I teach other people how to do it, they really like it. And so I'm thinking the plan is I'm going to start a school community to help people do this, because at that point, then I can get the cash back really quick. And honestly, I don't like just dealing without people, right? If I'm just dealing with like units, like it's kind of boring to me. And at that point, I'd honestly rather do like private label or something with branding. So I'm like, okay, let me pivot and not completely do a different business, but let me see if I can like help teach people how to use AI in the back of their thing. Not because I don't think that I can do this long term. Like if I go ahead and look and tell you the trajectory and tell you everything, all the limiting beliefs and all the constraints that I cut, now that I'm using 2 prep centers, that I'm doing online arbitrage, that like I have my sourcing agent that literally gives me leads every day that I could buy every single day. Like 100% I could scale this. And by December, right now it's July, I'm 100% positive I could start hitting 100K revenue months with like with that 10% for 10K, right? It's just the amount of reinvesting that you need to do, and the amount, and with that low of margin, it just doesn't lend itself to a really good cash flow opportunity. Like this is not a high cash flow opportunity. At this point, that's what I'm looking for, is higher cash flow. And I'm very like thankful for the opportunity because I learned a lot. I've talked to business owners that do a lot of money, 400K a year, 800K of revenue a month. And they don't know their ROI, they don't know their margin, they don't know their KPIs, they don't know if they're over-indexed on or over-leveraged on items, they don't know what their buying pace is, they don't know what their payback period is. They're just like, oh, it's all working out, right? Which made me realize that like KPIs are only here for when stuff goes wrong, right? And to know what's going on. Because for example, if I gave you a magic button and every time you clicked it, it gave you $100, you just click it all day and it gives you $100 in an instant, you're cool. Okay, whatever. Now imagine that button says, by the way, every time I give you 100, you have to give me $1. You're like, okay, sounds good. Keep clicking it. You're making like $10,000 a day, imagine. But then it gets to the point where it's like, hey, now it's $50 and I give you 100. And by the way, I give you those 100. Once you click the button, I give it to you in a week. So you start clicking and out of nowhere, you're out of clicks. And you're like, what is going on? That's when KPIs, it's a little bit of an analogy for business. That's where KPIs come in. Because now you're like, okay, well, how many times a day can I hit the button? And how many times a day am I actually hitting the button? With the payback period, how long? And can I get the button to give me a higher amount of money? And can I give the button a lesser amount of money? And like on average, how long is it? So that's where KPIs come into play. So if you don't need them, you just don't need them. And so at this point, I'm like, okay, I need higher cash flow like business. So I'm like, okay, well, I love AI. I think AI is I used to be a business analyst at Amazon. And so a lot of the coding I was never able to do, I had to hand it off to someone else. So it almost feels like with Claude at this moment, you don't need a BIE, you don't need the data engineer, you can just do it yourself, which is so cool. And so I'm like, okay, well, let me either teach other people how to do it. If anyone wants to learn, I'll try to do it on school. And at this point, try to go ahead and like do it for people. So almost like an AI agency just for RA and OA sellers. Because I know the numbers really well. And so I'm like, well, if I did it for myself, and the system is really cool. I can like do a video on it one day, but then I can give it to you. So I basically already did it. I had 3 friends of mine go ahead and go through my program over the month, and it was really nice of them and kind of them. And they told me I gave them a lot of value, and I believe it. So that was really cool. And I just got my first paying client for the offer, which is I install the whole back end in 7 days or less, or your money back, and you get all your dashboards, all your agents, everything completely run for you. And so this is going to be for like a higher market, like people that are doing like, you know, $1 million plus a year, and that they're like, hey man, my back end is complete chaos. Like go ahead and build it all out for me. So I'm with my first client now, and he's really cool. And I don't want to talk too much about it just because I'm working with him right now. So I don't want to talk about pricing, but maybe in a month, once I'm done, I can kind of go over the pricing and what I'm looking at. But so far, really liking it. I think I just have to keep doing these vlogs to not feel like I'm just dumping everything at once. But yeah, so far so good, happy. Still trying to get cash flow positive. That's one of the tough parts. It's like you can be net profitable and still be cash flow negative because you're reinvesting so hard, which is the whole point of this business, where I'm like, dude, this is horrible, right? I didn't start this to be cash flow negative and net profit positive. So yeah, I think that's it for this vlog. In the future one, I probably want to talk about my workouts, kind of like my weight as well, kind of like what I'm eating, kind of like where I'm heading in life. I think in the last video I said I was going to go to Alaska, and all those plans that I have are not being like, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. But if there's no money, there's no money. I can't do it. And so that's the reason why I'm kind of pivoting my business a little bit and going to a different opportunity, which I think will be a lot more fun because I get to deal with people, and it's higher cash flow to a certain sense. There's a lot of pros to doing online and RA selling. Like I've seen people go up to 40K a month in revenue really easily doing RA, just going to Walmart and just getting like 10 or 20 ASINs that are just selling a ton, going in, buying 100 and selling them on Amazon, which is very cool. It's just not my gig. I'm living at my parents' house at the moment to save a little money. I was living on a couch for like months. So I'm here, I'm grinding 7 days a week. And I see the progress. I see it. It's just, Michael, I can tell it's the wrong game to play. So yeah, I'm going to be pivoting. I'm at 20 minutes now. So that's just the vlog for this week. Next week, maybe I'll talk about a different vlog. But yeah, let me know if there's anything else in the story or any questions that you guys have. I'll be starting to actually come out with more videos and more marketing for my actual like AI agency for RA and OA sellers, where I set up for you, or I just give you the education, because I love talking about this stuff. So if someone's like, hey man, I can't afford your bigger package, but I just want, just tell me what to do, like cool, I'll go ahead and do that. My free stuff is going to be on YouTube and Instagram, and then I'll probably have a school community for a lower tier package, and then for the people I just want it done for them, I'll probably do a higher tier. So I'm really happy about working with this first client. I have a lot to say about like learning from just working with someone one-on-one at a higher price versus lower prices. But again, I'll be coming out with more videos. I think this is it for this video. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.